In a world where dreams meet reality, there exists a place where your business can flourish. That place is Shopify. Imagine having the power to craft your online store with tools that make it as easy as a gentle breeze. Whether you're an artisan of handmade wonders, a creator of digital treasures, or a curator of the latest trends, Shopify stands by your side. With its customizable templates, seamless integrations, and support that's always there, your dream store is just a heartbeat away. Join millions of visionaries around the globe and let Shopify guide you on your journey. Visit roguemedianetwork.com/Shopify. That's roguemedianetwork.com/SHOPIFY. And embark on your free trial. Shopify, where your commerce dreams come to life.
Most bankers aren't ready to help you until after their third cup of coffee. But with Central National Bank's after-hours service, you don't have to wait for the bank lobby to open to get help. You can contact us from 6 to 8:30 in the morning or from 5 to 10 in the evening, and we'll connect you to a real, live, local person who can answer questions and fix problems 7 days a week. Bank different. Bank Central. Central National Bank. Member FDIC.
I thought I saw something.
Did I lose you guys again? What?
Someone.
What's going on? What are you guys looking at? Abaddon eyes. That's what we call it. Everybody feels like they saw something out of the corner of their eyes or just felt like they were being watched. Happens to all of us. Just our imagination's messing with us.
Abaddon eyes.
You coming?
So, Gabriel, say your last name for us.
So my last name is Chytry.
Chytry. Okay.
Czech last name.
Okay.
And yeah, I normally put the phonetic.
Well, I pulled something off the internet and it says pronounce KIH-tree. So
Yeah,
but I didn't know.
I probably put that.
But I didn't know how to say the first part, so I was a little stumped.
Well,
But,
from
yeah.
us being in the deep South, we're going to butcher it anyway.
That's true.
so.
That's true. We do have probably within, how far is west? It's about 20 minutes from here or so. West Texas is large Czech community.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I taught art there at the high school for a year or so. Really
awesome.
Great people. Yeah.
Awesome.
One of the
what
best.
kind of art did you teach? Or do you teach?
It was high school and middle school art. You know, and yeah, that's over.
Okay.
Yeah, I got out of that because adults are bad. So
Yeah, I'd probably agree with you there. I'm more down with animals and things like that. My dog is here chilling.
It was never.
Can I ask your names? I don't know if I know your
I'm
names.
so sorry. I'm Mike, and this is Casey.
Mike and Casey?
Yep, you got it.
Yeah,
All right.
Casey Jones and Mike Hamilton.
Yep. So
No, that's in the email. That's right. I just want to
yeah,
make
you're
sure.
fine. Don't worry about it. Yeah. Okay, Gabriel. Tell me, number one, thanks for being here. If you're cool, we'll just go ahead and start.
Let's jump in.
Okay. Gabriel, thank you, number one, for being here. We really appreciate it. And say
My pleasure.
say your last name for us one time.
So my last name is Chytry.
Chytry. Okay.
Czech last name.
Fantastic. And then in the information that I pulled, it says your father was a philosopher.
He is. That's correct.
Okay. And French American something dancer is your mother. And I am not going to try I will not try to pronounce
That's a tough one there. That's Baratanacho.
Okay, yeah.
Baratanacho.
Yeah, you want to give it a go? Give it a go.
We didn't even get close.
But we were.
So that's cool. I'll just say briefly, it's South Indian dance.
Oh.
And my mother is not Indian, but she fell in love with this dance, and really, it's a lot of storytelling.
Really?
And so I sat through. I don't know if I had a choice. I probably had a choice sometimes, but these really mythological, folk tales from India. And they spark your imagination in all kinds of ways. And then you have the dancing, which is its own performance. But before every performance, there was this long, drawn out story. And I think some of that probably is where this started.
Yeah.
It had to, yeah.
Yeah.
They're, just telling stories and dance and seeing a story you wouldn't normally see. And then what that does to your mind and your imagination. So I think those things have been working within me, and I had trouble figuring out where to put that.
Yeah.
And I was grateful that Russell Wynn and this story and Steven and all this, it just kind of went like, this fits for you, actually.
It makes total sense.
In a fun and cool way. And so not that it brought up those folk stories, but I just mean that desire to tell bigger stories started early.
Right. Right. Well, number one, let us tell you kind of why we're here today. Okay. And I don't mean to make it sound like a eulogy or anything, but we're here to talk about Russell Wynn and his place in the Hell House universe.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So the few things that I know, Russell Wynn died in a car crash, right? And this is the same car crash.
No,
this is a different
you
car
desperately want to put that together. He desperately wants that car in Carmichael Manor. Yeah, that wrecked car you see out in the woods. He wants that to be your car. And
I don't think that was your car.
Right. Yeah. Right.
So one of the goals of this show is to get Reddit to just scream at us. So so that's what we're putting that out there.
That'll work.
Yeah.
Well, to me,
Russell's mysterious. He's always around,
and
I think those pieces are there for the people who are paying attention.
Mm-hmm. Sure.
I if you have questions, I can answer.
Yeah, absolutely.
Well, your story, your character story really changed for me at the end of 3, when they talked about the Abaddon tapes. And to see your character, Russell Wynn, there before the first group got to Hell House and before the second group went into Hell House. And to then, go back and put into play the fact that you had been dead for 2 minutes. And, the idea is that you were chosen, I'm assuming chosen by God to go back to be the one. That's another question I have too. Is because on the Tully side, we see Sarah Hovel and Jessica, one of the reporters, to really be a vessel for a demon to come back. And I was really curious if Russell Wynn was truly Russell Wynn, or was he more of an angel embodying that, being in Russell's body and doing what he needed to do?
I can only speak from my own, experience.
Sure. Yes.
And Steven and other people who've created it can say something else. But my feeling is the latter, that he's another kind of force that does take a human form for this story, for this purpose.
Yeah.
And so that's how I connected to it, sort of naturally.
Yeah.
I don't. And the time and the way that he can move through time and space lends itself to that for me. That's how I felt it and still do.
Okay, great. So tell me again, he takes on the property and he's going to do insomnia there, right? That's the preface behind this whole thing. But again, Wynn Media Group has come up before, and now we're actually introduced kind of to the embodiment of this thing, right?
Right.
As far as
sorry, when you say it's been brought up before, what are you referring to?
So Wynn Media Group was the provider of the Hell House tapes.
Right. It got very convoluted in there that, it would talk about Tully was in contact and sending out tapes to Russell Wynn, and you were working on something before it.
Right.
Once that started to unfold for me, it was very much, they had taken this thread that a lot of people, they didn't, if they don't get into the backstory of what was going on in 3, they think 3 is just a movie that where does it fall in the timeline?
Yeah.
And I was like,
Mhm.
it's everywhere in the timeline. Russell
Right.
Wynn in that story it touches every one of those other movies.
Yeah. And as someone that I wasn't in those other movies, I remembered all the specific moments of going through and making sure that those pieces were there.
Yeah.
So that those stories could open up.
Yeah.
The ones that came before and 3. So that was special because I only was able to do what I was there for. But then once I saw it, I could go, oh, well, that's connecting these stories now in a way that obviously at the time I didn't.
So that's a quick question. What was your prep like for this role? Like how far ahead did you get it, and how much research did you actually have to do?
We had a good amount of time. I want to say it was a couple months, but I don't remember. It was obviously a few years ago
It's been
now.
Sure.
Since we filmed it.
Yeah.
And I worked on it for a while, but I do remember that I liked and I connected with Russell right away. I mean, and I don't know if I feel that normally. I was probably in a position where I was like, acting sometimes not.
Yeah.
And then I read that and I went, wait, hold on a second. This feels right. This feels like something that I could do. So I remember immediately in the audition, having that feeling, and I felt the connection with Steven too. Where they went, oh yeah, you are this guy. You're like, we wrote him before, but you are this guy.
Sure.
So that's always a fun thing when that happens.
Yeah.
And then he was really careful about saying, this is a family, and this is a family in terms of the production, sure, and a family and relationship environment with the other actors.
Sure.
And so I remember he was sort of saying, because it was sort of mysterious, we're going to go here, we're going to go there. And I remember he was saying something like, can we pick you up?
Mm-hmm.
And I thought, no, I'm going to a place I don't know. It's in Pennsylvania. I've got a lot of days. Every day I had probably something to film or something. So I want to be free to do what I need to when I'm not needed. And I remember him going, yeah, but I really want you to be able to bond with the other actors. Yeah. And that's the drive from here to there is that.
Sure.
And I said, well, all right, can I drive them, and drive together? And he said, well, yeah, if that works for you, then let's do that. Or maybe he suggested it, or however we came to it. And so, we all got together and we all drove together. And so that was our first experience of really getting to know each other as actors, getting to know each other's characters. And then, we're staying in the hotel together. So we all that bonding happened early on. Yeah. And I think served us in terms of the relationships we had and the dynamics. That was my preparation. And every day, just going through it and knowing that we're working on different pieces. And like I said, there's a lot of details that we want to touch, and not just a great production in terms of doing all of that in a short time. I don't remember how many days we filmed, but
everybody's said somewhere between 10 and 14 days.
Yeah, that
something
sounds
like a real fast schedule. Where you guys all basically pitched in on everything for the most part.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You got to help each other as actors, and you have to know you're going to switch things. And I mean, that's part of it anyways, but even more so this kind of schedule.
Yeah. Steven said that he had to drive and go get the clock and all those things for the newest movie and all that stuff. So, I mean, it doesn't change necessarily. I guess it can if you reach a certain budget level, but at that level for a found footage film, you're trying to make it as cheap and as fast as possible, I would imagine. And with as much quality as you can get.
Exactly. And also like a lot of care for the audience and the viewers felt, which was like, whatever those expectations are, you want to surprise people. But then you also want to respect, like, hey, there's this big scene that we're gonna want. Yeah. And we got to deliver, you know, so that's where maybe the resources might go. Absolutely. And I remember Joe on production, he's so great. And he was saying, when you're working on this, you start to get really creative and resourceful in a way that when you have a bigger budget, you may not do. And I remember that really touched me, and still does, where it's like, that's the most fun filmmaking. I mean, if you're an actor filmmaker who's going like, hey, let's take this table and cut it up and flip it and like, let's get that shot without thinking about the budget first. Let's get creative first.
Right.
And I thought they were doing that. We were doing that every day.
So how much of Russell Wynn do we not necessarily know about? Are there things in these movies, or specifically in 3, that maybe I just feel like this whole series has a bunch of Easter eggs in it that we haven't seen yet.
I would agree for sure for Russell and for other elements of the story.
Okay.
I think they can expand, or you can sort of find an origin.
Yeah.
So I like that.
Yeah.
I mean, for sure, it gives you some choices to make.
Yeah.
And some relationships between people where you go, oh wait, was there something before, or is that just a strong relationship now? And I think because of the way they position the films, I guess I could say it leaves a lot to the viewer, which is fun.
Right.
Like when a text is written really well, I love beautiful text like poetry or any kind of text. It allows you to really take an active role in the story.
Yeah.
And so in a different genre here with horror in this specific story, that's what's happening. Is you can input your own ideas, your own sort of connections, and it becomes something else.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. A lot of people, they talk about the last scene at the diner when y'all were all together, and how they, they wrote it as a very Last Supper-esque kind of thing, where you came in and the wine and the bread and your disciples, basically.
Right. Yeah.
But that was to me, that was Russell's, and knowing that you came to it from a point that you thought it was an angel, really taking over this body and doing that, it makes it more poignant. And
what makes the character so much bigger,
Well, just like I said, the whole movie, knowing that character was there before the actual haunted house was ever started. And
exactly,
that there's always, Tully always talks about dominoes in play, and you were a domino or a piece that was on the board for a long time before we ever saw you in 3. And that's one of those things where we talk about, okay, that's a whole nother movie to look at that. What was Russell doing as he was going through and putting these people, and getting into this production of Faust, and how Faust is a whole other part of this thing, and how it
exactly,
and the best,
I love that.
You have one of the best lines of the whole series, and if you can't trust a priest, when Father Paulus gives you up, if you can't trust a priest.
That's right. That's right.
I love that.
Oh my goodness.
And I don't know if this is
on an audition. I'm working on an audition now from Spotlight. And so, I actually don't know if I've seen that film, which is probably great for the audition. And it's that big scene, and again, another line about a priest. So there you go.
Yeah.
It's these stories. They keep coming back in different forms, and I think that's what's important about them, is that you reach audiences through horror. I'm big into graphic novels. Love graphic novels. I think that opens up story for people who may be turned off by text for whatever reason they might be. So, and horror has a very strong connection with graphic novels, or at least in my mind, it does. I mean, I love Neil Gaiman and what he does with genre. So these are worlds that, different forces, angel, you don't just, a story doesn't just start when you walk in, right? I mean, I think you're saying it there. There's a whole,
it's like you said,
that happened to Russell before he walks in.
Yeah. Well, it's
any character, but especially this.
It again is that world building, that lore, the stuff that comes before you and the stuff that will come after you because you were there, right? I think it's weird how one movie can introduce a character that basically kind of is the main character of one of these
On,
things,
on
of
the,
the entire thing.
on the good side,
Yeah.
yes. That's what
Yeah.
I don't think people really realize.
Yeah, because it's good versus evil, and you're on that good side, you know, and it's odd to me that you wouldn't be in more of these, you know, just
Flashbacks, other things like
flashbacks and things like that. So, I guess my question for you is, when do you start filming number 5?
Yeah, but you know what? Now I sort of want to get started like today.
Yeah,
as we talk.
sure. We've
we
asked.
got some ideas that got me. You know, my notebook is here. I'm thinking me and Russ.
We've asked every person that we've talked to that same thing, like, you know, when does number 5 start? Because we're just trying to catch somebody that'll say, oh yeah, we started in March or whatever, you know, that kind of thing. Steven,
I haven't gotten the call yet. But,
Steven and Tully were having nothing to do with that. So,
yeah, and what
they're
it's really
they're sneaky.
from a viewer, a fan standpoint, it's film is a very frustrating medium because the lead up time from, okay, I just walked out of the theater in 4.
Yeah.
I want to go get 5. I can't go, you know, next month, the next issue of the comics coming out or the next book. It's just, you got to hope that the money comes up somewhere and the time's available to put everybody together.
Well, and the schedule and everything.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I mean, what would you think? It would be sort of like every year, every 2 years.
Yeah.
I mean, I think a year is really difficult to do, but
well, especially these days where we've all been conditioned to just binge all this stuff, you know, and so now I would imagine the attention span for this kind of stuff is so short, you know, that people just want more and more and more and more, and that's just not. I mean, that's not possible if you want a good production.
Well, and then on the actors and actresses side of it, if you're doing too much stuff back to back to back, then you get typecast.
Sure, that's true.
You know, you want your range because I would assume as an actor and actress, you want to explore other things and be other people and develop other characters.
You're absolutely right. And that's an active practice that will not be given. You know, I think that's something that you really has to come from within, and you go, I know what material moves me, and I go to that. Yeah. And then we talk about details. That's how I feel.
Sure.
You know, that's how I felt about Russell. It's how I feel about if I have that feeling of, I'm like, this makes sense. It's important to me right now. It's like, tell me when we start. Immediately. Yeah. You know, let's take this text and read it. Let's listen to it. Let's move it. Because, you know, you overthink things.
Yeah, sure.
I think that's what I like also about it is you don't have time to overthink when you're on this kind of schedule. And so sure, you can, I mean, as an actor, you can always nitpick a performance, this and that. But really, hopefully what happens is you stop thinking and you're just reacting.
Yeah.
And you're in the space with your actors. And I think that did happen, certainly felt like it happened. And I think it came out in the film. And I know that one time I went back we had finished filming for the day. And, you know, it's full of kind of people in the different rooms. Yeah. You know, things have been blocked off and there's lights. And so it's very it's a set, right? It's a house, but it's a set.
Sure.
And everybody had left for the day. And it might have even been one of the last days. So it was really empty. Like other actors had left. It was a small, but there was no one in that house. And I had to grab something. I forget what it was. And I went in and I went, oh my goodness.
Yeah.
This is what it feels like to be in this space. And I was totally freaked out and just, you know, ran in
it's got to be
my thing and just, you know, and I thought, wow, we've been creating this whole time.
Yeah.
And this is the first time you feel it.
Yeah,
but
sure.
It had that house has a character, it has a spirit, it has something else going on. And when you bring people into it, it adds. But when you take people away, it still goes on living.
It's just you in the house at that point, right? I mean, it's just you in the house. And so that becomes tough. Yeah.
He broke Russell's #1 rule.
Yeah.
Nobody in the house after dark.
That's right.
And always use the buddy system. Always use the buddy system.
There you go. Listen to your own advice.
Yeah, you
That's
just,
right.
It's not good. Lucky you got out of there. I mean, you know.
So just real quick, what was your experience like working with the folks in the clown suits and things like that? Did you have a lot of, let me ask you two-parter, the clown suits and Tully. So give me your experience with those two.
Oh man, I must have buried those scary nightmares somewhere. I'm trying to. Well, I'll talk. I guess I'm thinking of the clown suit
Yeah,
first.
sure.
And that was in the basement, right?
Yeah.
Um.
Well, that's the other thing.
Yeah, no, that was.
That's the other
Sorry?
thing that adds to that house, right? Is it's got a freaking basement in it too.
Oh yeah, that basement is freaky. Man.
That's what I'm saying. It's a portal to hell, and that's what you've been creating. And then how do you get that out of your head when you have to wander around the house?
Oh my gosh! Well, you didn't spend much time down there. I'll say
Good.
that.
Good.
And yeah, no, I wouldn't. It wasn't a place to hang out.
Yeah.
And so there was a feeling like you're stepping. There was a feeling like you're stepping into another realm.
Yeah.
I've had that experience before in life, both creatively and personally, and
Wow.
it had that feeling where you suddenly you're paying attention differently. Your senses are heightened.
Sure.
And so yeah, in that state, you see these clowns and they're sitting there and they're not moving, I think, and then they move and yeah, no, I mean I was totally freaked out,
Sure.
didn't want to look in that direction.
Sure.
Didn't really remember are the real people. Obviously, when they came out of that space, we could have a snack and whatever. Some Doritos.
Well, I'm hoping they at least took the head off, as you're eating the Doritos.
Yeah, no, when they took
I got
that off, but with that on,
I just don't know that I can
it doesn't
share a
take
bag
much
of
suggestion. Let me say that.
I just don't know that I could share some Cool Ranch Doritos with that clown, and he's still got the face on.
You have to. You have to.
That'd be a little rough.
Well, we had talked to Patrick, who was Gideon, who played Patrick in the fourth one, and he his background is in very physical form. He mime work, and he said that when he put the mask on, he became another person.
Yeah.
It changed him, and and that's just part of, and that's why I Mike and I talk about. It's really great to talk to y'all about how you, how you put that and create those characters.
Yeah,
and that's the thing. A lot of people I don't think get to see is these kind of conversations about what you did to create these characters.
Yeah, yeah,
that's fascinating. I mean, I can relate to that, although I didn't have a mask. I had a scar.
Sure.
I think that. Especially in horror, but in anything, hair and makeup and wardrobe, it's such a big part of visual storytelling.
Yeah.
And I think probably actors, because you're taught to sort of be in a white room and create by yourself. And sometimes it's good to be able to do that, because that moment will happen when you're alone and you have to do that. But really every day it's this collaboration, and it's so important that there is a process that happens that while you're in the makeup chair and maybe there's something happening with the scars and some mask, and then you put on the wardrobe and now you're in the space and so that's that process of, for everyone it's different, but those elements are what creates it. And then you're just on the ride, and you're hoping that you have good people around you, which we did, to say, more in that direction, or let's take it here. And yeah, I mean, the mask, not to bring it back to that Indian dance, but this master teacher who my mom knew, Kuni Raman, he would say that as he got in the makeup chair, that's where he transformed.
Yeah.
And it had a lot, like it was a headdress and a lot of things.
Sure.
But that's where I think he said he wouldn't even really speak that much. Yeah. Or he would change his speech so that it's, you're not just having a casual conversation anymore. You're taking on this.
Yeah.
And I worked on Lincoln. I worked on Lincoln.
Yeah, we saw that.
President Lincoln, and I could say the same thing there, where it was like, hair and makeup, that process of becoming someone else, and in that case, it's a person someone knows, a mythical person.
Sure.
You need everybody. And that scar tells a whole story, right? It tells that origin, what happened. There's something else there, and it also asks this question: is this someone to be trusted or not?
Yeah.
is he good or bad? Although I think Russell was doing good things, I don't think things are that black and white. I think that not to get into that, but there's angels of all kinds, and there's fallen angels. And to me, when I hear fallen angel, and that's not a specific, I'm just saying when I hear that term, I think of, wow, that sounds like a misunderstood being. Who maybe, I'm not saying good or bad, right? Just people saw them differently. And so any chance that you get to expand that space of good and bad and black and white and shadow and light, which I do all the time, writing and acting. I think it does a great service. I think it helps everyone have more space to say I'm many things. I'm imperfect, but I'm striving for something. And Russell's a very big form of that, but it also there's a human element there too. Of someone trying to be better. So with Tully, I mean, that battle in the basement was wild. It was wild. I think we filmed it towards the end, so everyone had left, like I said. And it was really just the two of us, and he was there in that cave and that voice. Well, I was going to the death for sure. I was not going to maybe hurt this actor, but I was not going to back down in a basement. Well, I have not Russell, not me, not ever.
That's right.
I have a kind of a lead-in, a question that goes into that, and I don't know if you can say or not. But can you say what was in the box that you got from Father Paulus?
Oh, yeah.
Because I know when you go into the basement, and here's something that I know you could see, like a stole or something that you had around your neck that was not originally with your character. But
that's correct.
When Tully met you in 2C, he addressed you as Russell, and he knew who you were. When he saw you in the basement, he looked at you and said, "Who are you?" So that's
the other form, right? That's the other form of taking, whether it be supernatural, angel. Now he's recognizing that he's dealing with, not just a regular adversary.
And I didn't know if it was the materials that you were given from Father Paulus that allowed that to happen or not. But I just thought that was really interesting. That was a thread that was just, he got something that was holy, obviously from a father, and then you used it, and it did change the way the demon saw you. That was just interesting to me.
Yeah. No, that's a beautiful detail, and you describe it well.
Well, we that's something that keeps coming up, right? Is how are these people seen when they come back? So, for instance, the sister, he ends up bringing her back in the fourth one, but our main question there was, did he see his sister as she was, or did he see a demon, or what did he see? And I believe he said he saw both.
He said, in my mind, and this was in the fourth movie, he made a deal to bring his sister back, and he said, in my mind, I see her as both my sister and a demon. And he said, I'm in a place where I'm happy to have either one.
Oh, I love that.
See, that's the kind of stuff.
It's good stuff. Yeah. But that's kind of what I'm thinking about Russell here, though. I mean, he's probably both. It's according to who sees him, when they see him, what he's doing, all of those things. So I would imagine that Andrew Tully sees him very differently than the people that he's trying to help. I would. Those are two very different things. Yeah,
absolutely. And I think he probably transforms into those different forms as necessary.
Yeah. That's a good point. That's a great point. Well, Gabriel, thank you so much for spending so much time with us. We really appreciate it. Can I ask you real quick, what are you working on now?
What am I working on? I'm auditioning for some cool projects here in LA.
Because the strike just got over. Yeah, right.
The strike got over, so it's auditioning for American Horror Stories, which was pretty cool. And some other things. And then really what I've been doing is I've been writing short stories that have taken the form of poems. So I have my first collection called Reorientations coming out in 2024.
Very cool.
Wow.
Very cool.
Yeah. I didn't choose it. It was just sort of like, this is the language that will help you say what you need to say. And I'm very happy about it, and it's helping a lot of other writing and film scripts, but these ones took that form.
That's very cool.
Yeah,
That's very cool.
Mike and I, when we get a chance to do something creative, it's just about, what is the muse giving you at the time, and you
Sure.
work with it, whatever it is. Yeah.
Absolutely.
And really, a lot of it comes down to is listening. Is listening to silence, is listening to the text, is listening to what's going on with you, or if there's another person, them. And I think that's where the magical, the interesting connections happen, creatively and otherwise. And so it's something where, I think I think even Neil Gaiman talks about it. He's like, when you get a writer's block, I don't want to quote him, this is his stuff, but he says, when you get a writer's block, just listen to your characters.
Yeah.
I was like, what a great idea. He's like, when you have nothing to say, when you have nothing to write, just listen to them. They've got stuff going on. They'll tell you some stuff. And I just thought,
well, that active listening is so hard, right?
Yes.
Like especially today. Even like listening to my wife tell me about her day, at the end of the day, I'm thinking about the next question, or I'm thinking about the next thing, instead of really being solid on what she's saying, and so
being present to what's happening and what she's not saying, and all those things. And in acting, you pay special attention to it. So I'm grateful for the hours that we've spent. Yeah. But it's such a valuable skill in reading and writing and just human dynamics to go, let me not be totally thinking about all my ideas all the time and how what you're saying might influence them.
Right.
And let me put that as much to the side for now and just hear what's going on with you in this moment. Mm-hmm. And if you can do that in acting or in life, it's just a special feeling.
It's a special skill. Definitely.
I hope to do it more and more, even here. I've had it here with you guys, hearing you describe a moment, or taking a time to just sort of sit and enjoy being in an interview with you. So thank you.
Well, thank you. We really appreciate it. And this, again, we're going to go over lore. We're going to go over the world that's being built within the Hell House movies and stuff. And we hope that if we run into something where we need to ask some questions about Mr. Wynn, that we can holler back at you.
I'd be happy to answer any questions about Mr. Wynn.
Well, and as your projects progress, when you have more and more to announce, or things are coming out, we can find a venue to get that out to an audience as well.
Yeah, sure. Sure.
I so appreciate that. And I will share it. I want to share it with good people, and you definitely meet that criteria. So
fantastic. Thank you.
Thank you for being there and supporting.
Yeah. Well, thank you so much. Enjoy your day. I wish you nothing but luck on all your projects, and we're looking forward to reorientations.
Sounds good. Well, thank you both for having me, and have a great holiday and a really great 2024.
You got it.
Thank you very much.
To you. All right. Goodbye.
Great project.
Thanks.
Cheers. Bye.
Oh, he was nice enough. He didn't. Sorry.
Well, no, we're coming at him from a couple of years ago.
Well, that's the thing, right? I mean, this was 2019, and this is we're about to be in 2024.
Yeah.
So almost 5 years under it. Plus, if it came out in 2019, it was probably filmed the year before.
Yeah.
So you're looking 5-6 years down the road.
I think it was interesting that as we asked questions.
Yeah.
And that helped.
It kind of flooded back to him.
Yes.
Yeah.
And then, and again, I think to me, the fact that we're asking questions that are
a little different,
deeper than just scratching the surface, and we're okay. How did you do that? And then they they like that. They get actors, and again, that's their craft.
Well, and I can't say it enough that these folks that we've talked to, this is what 6, 8, something like that at this point. Everybody has just been so giving and so open to this project, and I really appreciate all of them. I mean, because he doesn't have to take time out of his day to listen, to talk to us.
Well, especially to come back and cover something that's from 2019.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So, I don't know where this is going to be in the timeline of things we release, but Gabriel, we really appreciate your time. And that goes for everyone who's talked to us so far. It's been a wonderful project that's just kind of opened up itself to us just talking to normal people, you know?
And interesting to hear, you know, that they would look forward to stepping back into roles because they enjoyed making it so much. You know?
And that's the crazy part to me is that, you know, you would think as you start to work yourself up as an actor in rank, you know, and do bigger things and stuff like that, that you would be like, oh, thank God I don't have to do those 14-day shoots anymore or whatever. But it sounds like everybody would just pile into a car and go shoot it right now if they needed to. And I think that says a lot about Steven also. And the way that he's created this family in this world.
The environment.
I love the story of them all driving there together. That's a perfect bonding.
And he said, I want you to, so you get to know these people.
That's brilliant. Yeah. I can't imagine getting in a car with Glenn Close and trying to figure out what her character is going to be, you know, on the way to.
I just can't believe he went back in by himself. I mean, that was his number one rule.
I would not hang out in that house. Yeah.
I would just leave it till tomorrow.
Yeah, that sounds good. Let's wait until the sun comes up. All right. Well, there's another one down. We keep poking and prodding, and hopefully someday we'll see number 5. There you go. So let's see what's next in store for Abaddon Eyes. By the way, I'm going to ask everybody. You know, are you going to be in number 5? You have to. All right. Well, thanks for listening. You can find Abaddon Eyes exploring the Hell House LLC universe anywhere you get your podcasts or at roguemedianetwork.com.
I found the gateway, and it's glorious. Play us a song. Diana?
This has been a Rogue Media Network production. In a world where dreams meet reality, there exists a place where your business can flourish. That place is Shopify. Imagine having the power to craft your online store with tools that make it as easy as a gentle breeze. Whether you're an artisan of handmade wonders, a creator of digital treasures, or a curator of the latest trends, Shopify stands by your side. With its customizable templates, seamless integrations, and support that's always there, your dream store is just a heartbeat away. Join millions of visionaries around the globe and let Shopify guide you on your journey. Visit roguemedianetwork.com/Shopify. That's roguemedianetwork.com/SHOPIFY. And embark on your free trial. Shopify, where your commerce dreams come to life.